Hello and welcome. Tonight, a week and a day to the planned nationwide protest by a yet-to-be-identified group, the federal government continues to appeal for more time as it says it is making efforts to address the current economic challenges. The Nigerian Navy raids an illegal crude oil refining and storage operation with a capacity of over 200,000 litres in Rivers State. Suspects to be handed over to the prosecution agencies. And Choice International Group CIG Motors forges a new partnership with the award-winning Nigerian music icon David Adeleke, popularly called Davido. The chairman of CIG Motors, Diana Chen, says the union demonstrates the automobile group's resolve to continue to push the boundaries of the sector.
On business news, latest data from the Nigerian exchange shows over $540 billion worth of foreign transactions were recorded in the first half of 2024.
On sports, world number one Yannick Sinner pulls out from the 2024 Paris Olympic Games tennis event with tonsillitis.
From the nation's capital, the People's Democratic Party candidate in the September 21st governorship election in Edo State, Aso Ighodalo, says he has faith in Nigeria's justice system, even as the police are yet to bring to book the perpetrators of last Thursday's shooting at the airport road.
And in international news from London, US Vice President Kamala Harris has gone on the offensive against Donald Trump in the first rally of her White House campaign, portraying November's election as a choice between a former prosecutor and a convicted felon.
The Nigeria Governors Forum is holding its meeting at the NGF Secretariat in Abuja this night. Some of the governors have already begun arriving at the venue of the meeting. The governors of Zamfara, Bauchi, Plateau, Delta and Abia State, as well as the Deputy Governor of Enugu State. The Deputy Governor Borno are among those already at the venue. The agenda of the meeting is currently not made public. However, the governors at the last meeting had promised to give Nigerian workers a fair minimum wage, and this is the first public meeting of the forum since President Bola Tinubu approved the 70,000 naira minimum wage. As a forum, the governors are also likely to comment on the raging debate about the planned nationwide protest against bad governance, as well as the recent Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. We will get you the details of the meeting as we get them. Staying in the nation's capital, the federal government is appealing for more time as it's making efforts to address the current economic challenges. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, who made the remark after a closed-door meeting between ministers and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, urged Nigerians to shelve the plot of the planned protest. According to the minister, there is no need for the protest as government will continue engaging with all stakeholders to address all the issues in the interest of the country.
Against the backdrop of the planned nationwide protest on the 1st of August, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation summoned the ministers of President Tinubu's cabinet to an emergency meeting. After the meeting, which held behind closed doors, ministers speak on the outcome with an appeal to Nigerians.
There's no need for any protest. Let us all calm down. A lot is happening. Nigeria is going to move and march on. And we believe that whatever government comes up will be in the interest of Nigeria. We don't think that there is need for any protest. We are appealing for calm. We are appealing for a peaceful resolution or peaceful approach to any issue.
Advise my fellow young Nigerians to disassociate themselves from the planned protest. We need to look at the entire Nigerian project and what the impact of the economic reforms, especially the macroeconomic reforms of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration.
In a related development, The Minister of Information and National Orientation hosts a meeting with members of the Charismatic Bishops' Conference. The planned nationwide protest is the point of discussion here, as the minister maintains that the federal government makes a pledge to uphold people's rights to protest.
The president is not an opponent of protest of any kind, but the president is an opponent of violence. He is an opponent of anything that will negatively hamper the well-being of Nigerians. We know that it is almost impossible to hold this protest and then have peace at the end of the day.
We have rather decided to go all out and call for a truce. We have decided to sue for peace and to humbly request that our brothers and sisters who are aggrieved in one way or the other, that they will allow some time while we continue to communicate and negotiate with this government on the areas that are pertinent to them.
The minister adds that the federal government is working on a policy to pay students of tertiary institutions and unemployed graduates some stipends pending their formal employment. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn for Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives is urging the federal government to open a channel of dialogue with those planning to organize a protest against the cost of living in the country. This was part of the caucus resolution at the end of a session dinner in Abuja on Tuesday. Now, the minority leader of the House, Kingsley Chinda, who spoke to journalists, stated this while appealing against the protest against the background of insecurity in parts of the country. The caucus also called on government to create means to ensure citizens are self-reliant in a bid to tackle the economic downturn in the nation. The chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State, has advised against the planned protest by some Nigerians, saying it is wrong timing to embark on such. Speaking with State House correspondents after meeting with President Bola Tinubu, where he, accompanied by Governor Francis Nwifuru of Ebonyi State, went to formally present the former President of the Senate, Senator Pius Anyim, to the President. Senator Anyim had recently joined the All Progressives Congress as a member of the party. Governor Uzodimma also thanked President Tinubu for signing the Southeast Development Commission bill into law.
I think it is a wrong time for anybody to do any protest, because the implication of doing that, if care is not taken, is that it may be hijacked, like the NSAS experience, where criminals now hijacked and innocently conceived agitation by young Nigerians. So this is another kind of temptation that I think too, that those behind the protest, because they have not been able to come out openly to say they are behind it, there is something that is a motive that is yet to be unraveled. So I think that we are not in support of the protest. We are not going to support any protest that has no programs, that is not discussed, that nobody knows what the problems are. Okay, if you are protesting, what do you want government to do? Because the reason for protest is that they want an issue to be addressed. What are the issues? So in my view, I think there is no need to overheat the polity, overheat our environment, and put our people in a position that the hardship that is occasioned by economic recession all over the world is further worsened. So I advise against the protest. And the people of Southeast, particularly the leadership and the Southeast Governors Forum, which I'm the chairman, we're indeed very grateful. We're very happy with that. It means that the neglect we've been crying for a very long time is being addressed now by the national government. So we owe this glory to Almighty God and to Mr. President for being able to do this justice to our people.
Still on the planned protest, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has threatened to take to the streets over the high cost of living in the country. The president of the Senate of the association, who spoke to newsmen at the Aminu Kano College of Islamic Studies, laments the high cost of fuel, fees, and food items. According to him, the situation is difficult for ordinary students and they are asking the government to reverse the policies that has caused the hardship.
We are calling on the government to immediately reduce the cost of petrol. Failure to comply will leave us with no option but to mobilize and to take streets in protest, and to take over the streets in protest. So we demand the immediate sack of the NNPCG CEO, Mr. Mele Kyari, for his incompetence and ineptitude in handling the Dangote refinery, an obvious conflict of interest in their fuel racketeering scheme. So we also demand that the CBN governor takes immediate action to stabilize the Naira-dollar rate in the country, bringing it down to a maximum of 600 Naira to a dollar within 30 days. So failure to comply will result in calls for his removal from office. Conclusively, the NAS reiterates its commitment to the welfare and well-being of Nigerian students and the nation at large. As a key stakeholders in the country, we will continue to engage in with the government to ensure that our demands are met and our nation is placed on a sustainable path. So we are urging our stakeholders to join us in this quest for a better Nigeria.
Now, the planned protest has also caught the attention of the traditional institutions, as His Royal Majesty Omonoba Nedo Uku Akpolokpolo Eware II, the Oba of Benin, has appealed to the federal government to intensify efforts in the implementation of its economic and security policies. This appeal is contained in a palace public announcement said to be issued on the authority of the Oba of Benin by the Chief Press Secretary to the Oba, Osaigbovo Igbobaru. The Omanoba and the message also appeal to members of the public to give the federal government more time to implement its economic policy designed to alleviate the current hardship Nigerians are experiencing in the country. His Royal Majesty, who notes that for things to get better, it has to be tough for a while, therefore appeals to those planning the August 1st protest to shelve the plan. According to the statement, the appeal is arising from the emergency meeting of the National Executive Committee of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria held in Abuja on Monday, July the 22nd. The Minister of State for Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawande, is also lending his voice to the planned protest by appealing to young Nigerians to shelve the idea and instead engage the process of governance. Mr. Olawande made the plea during a youth-focused dialogue on anti-corruption organized by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Abuja. Our correspondent, Kayla Magua, reports.
Following the third corruption survey by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the National Bureau of Statistics, a conversation spearheaded by Nigeria's youth has birthed recommendations from these UNODC corruption-free champions.
Nigerian youths deserve a Digital Rights Act, one that engenders increased participation in holding government accountable and being able to somewhat follow projects of government and the money.
The importance of involving young Nigerians in these anti-corruption conversations is further buttressed by stakeholders.
A call for transparency and accountability of public institutions is one step towards addressing the issues of the country. Perhaps a more important step is what you do yourselves. And the minister said it himself, as individuals, because you are the future of the country.
The third round of the Nigeria Corruption Survey states that contact rates between citizens and public officials reduced from 63% in 2019 to 56% in 2023. 70% of Nigerians refused to pay bribe when asked by corrupt officials in 2023. Bribery reporting rose to 8.6% in 2023 from 3.6% in 2019. And 45% of reported bribery cases saw actual action initiated against those reported.
I want all of us to come up and bring up our...
Nigeria's Minister of State for Youth Development goes further by outlining the benefits of youth engagement in the process of governance.
What makes it difficult for us, for this generation, to come out boldly, not with augury, not with noise making, but strategic thinking of how to create impact and how to turn things around. Even if I'm a practical person, even if we cannot get 100%, at least we are able to do 50%.
Nigeria is changing, A lot of young people are about to position themselves for offices in leadership. And these conversations are important to mold values of honesty in them, to ensure that nation building is forefront in their activities. It is also important, however, for government officials to listen to these young people and implement some of the recommendations, as they say that the future of this country belongs to them. From the UN House in Abuja, Kayla Magwa, Channels Television News.
In part two after the break, the Nigerian Navy raids an illegal crude oil refining and storage operation with a capacity of over 200,000 liters in Rivers State. 2 suspects to be handed over to the prosecution agencies. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. A week and a day to the planned nationwide protest by a yet-to-be-identified group, the federal government continues to appeal for more time, as it says it is making efforts to address the current economic challenges. The Nigerian Navy raids an illegal crude oil refining and storage operation with a capacity of over 200,000 liters in Rivers State. 2 suspects to be handed over to the prosecution agencies. And Choice International Group CIG Motors forges a new partnership with the award-winning Nigerian music icon David Adeleke, popularly called Davido. The chairman of CIG Motors, Diana Chen, says the union demonstrates the automobile group's resolve to continue to push the boundaries of the sector. The National Working Committee of the Labour Party is accusing the Nigeria Labour Congress and some federal lawmakers elected on the party's platform of fueling crisis in the party with the sole objective of demarketing Mr. Peter Obi ahead of 2027. The Labour Party National Legal Advisor, Mr. Kehinde Edun, told journalists at a news conference in Abuja that the NLC and some of the elected lawmakers on the Labour Party's platform are on the payroll of some politicians to destroy the party. The Labour Party has been involved in a series of leadership crises since the conclusion of the 2023 general elections.
The attempt by the NLC to hijack the party is unconstitutional and illegal. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has clearly spelled out how a political party can operate and how it can be formed. Section 221 to 22 now clearly said it. And the job for which the NLC and its cronies have been paid is to create a semblance of crisis, a semblance of division in the party. They are on the payroll of our political opponents to demarket our party. When the party is growing, you have all sorts of people. Some of the people elected on our platform are not genuine progressive. They are not genuine people who believe in the ideology of the party. They only came because they failed in other places. Now they want to defect, and they think that the only way they can do that is to create a semblance, to make it appear as if there is a faction. So they have found a willing tool in the NLC.
The Presidential Committee on Implementation of Livestock Reforms is to submit its report to President Bola Tinubu in the next 2 weeks. The co-chair of the committee, Professor Atahiru Jega, disclosed this after meeting with the President at the State House with the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Bubakar Kyari, and the Secretary of the committee, Mohammed Kyari.
I believe that the challenges have been many, and I will not say it is not going to be difficult. It will be difficult, but it is not impossible to actually get it right. And I know that all the members of the committee are focused in terms of ensuring that we get this thing right. So Nigerians should expect from our committee recommendations that, if successfully implemented, could add tremendous value in terms of achieving those defined objectives of opening up the opportunities in the livestock sector and also helping mitigate crises and conflicts which are associated with this sector. And I'm very happy from what I have seen so far about the readiness of a multiplicity of stakeholders in all the value chain in the livestock sector who are willing and ready to partner and to engage and to ensure that we have sustainable solutions to the challenges that are traditionally associated with this sector.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, says the new Ministry of Livestock Development will take off after the Presidential Committee submits its report. He adds that the President is anxious for the Livestock Development Initiative to take off.
Mr. President today has expressed his excitement, has expressed his anxiety, and he's very anxious for this to take off. You are well aware that a new ministry has been created by Mr. President, and he is waiting for the report so that the ministry can take off immediately after the report has been submitted by the committee. So everybody is excited. We in the agricultural field were also excited. All stakeholders are very, very excited because there is so much potential when you unbundle the livestock sector, and there is the value chain that would create enormous wealth, creation of jobs, and most importantly, nutrition for the food security aspect of the country.
The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, says that Nigeria is not only catching up with the rest of the world, but also poised to overtake them in terms of economy and technology. He was speaking while inaugurating the Artificial Intelligence Expertise, Blockchain and Technology Training and Outsourcing Initiative in Dutse, the capital of Jigawa State. This initiative is part of Nigeria's plan for digital transformation and to take the lead in Africa.
Recognizing the potential and political will of the Jigawa state government in the ICT sector, the federal government is inaugurating the Artificial Intelligence Expertise, Blockchain and Technology Training and Outsourcing for 1,000 youth. Vice President Kashim Shettima is optimistic about Nigeria's future in the ICT sector.
The future of every nation today relies on empowering young people to master and explore new trends in digital technology. This initiative offers its beneficiaries the chance to become part of a global workforce, driving innovation that will shape our future. The skills you will acquire here are the currency of the 21st century, opening doors to opportunities far beyond our borders. As a major investor and partner in the Nigerian technology ecosystem, Global's interests align seamlessly with the agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in our bid to revolutionize our digital technology sphere.
Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State notes the importance of the initiative, describing it as a rare opportunity at the doorstep of the youth.
It is our belief that today's event will open new opportunities, reduce unemployment, and reposition Jigawa State and Nigeria as a hub for global outsourcing, particularly for artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. Jigawa State government hopes to leverage on the collaboration with GLUA in furtherance of our objective to deepen our niche in ICT innovation and the digital economy.
Meanwhile, at the Aminu Kano Triangle, the Vice President inspected the exhibition pavilions by MSMEs in the state. The government of Jigawa State, through the Agency for Youth Empowerment, is empowering youth with retail shops.
Let me therefore urge all participating SMEs to aspire to take full advantage of the services to be offered in the clinics. This is a rare opportunity to access a wide range of business development services, which under normal circumstances could take weeks, if not months, and cost a lot of financial resources.
The contribution of micro, small, and medium enterprises cannot be ignored.
Today we are here in Dutse to launch, among other things, training of Jigawa youth on AI and blockchain. So this will help Jigawa to reclaim its position in the digital map. Jigawa, we are the trailblazer in the digital revolution.
But today we've been lagging behind, but with this initiative, I believe strongly Jigawa will claim its position in the digital landscape.
The federal government is determined to boost the nation's economy by empowering owners of micro, small, and medium enterprises.
The MSME subsector has been our top priority because we are the very foundation of our economy. Not only do we represent 96% of all businesses in Nigeria and contribute over 45% to our GDP, but we also provide a crucial lifeline to 80% of our nation's workforce. We recognize your essence, and that's why we are establishing MSME clinics across the nation. These clinics will act as incubators for small businesses and offer alternative financing.
The Vice President also commissioned a solar-powered farm at Madobi in the state capital. All the initiatives are expected to significantly boost economic growth and technological advancement in Jigawa State and Nigeria at large. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, latest data from the Nigerian exchange shows over $540 billion worth of foreign transactions were recorded in the first half of the year 2024. That's on business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Terry Kumi is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. Now, in a massive swoop, operatives of the Nigerian Navy have busted an illegal crude oil refining and storage operation in Rivers State. The personnel operating out of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder in Port Harcourt and as part of the Navy's Operation Delta Sanity were led by their commander, Commodore Desmond Igbo, to the facility in Okuzi community of Ogbaegbe Mandone local government area of Rivers State. Our correspondent Charles Opuru reports.
In a well-concealed private compound in Okuzi village, somewhere in Ogbaegbe Mandone local government area of Rivers State, naval operatives have made a massive discovery.
You can see. Good boy. Even me too, I don't begin.
They are part of the Navy's Operation Delta Sanity from the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder. The commander says this illegal facility was discovered by their intelligence team.
About 2 to 3 weeks ago, the Nigerian Navy extended the Operation Delta Sanity operations, which is made to cut the incidence of crude oil theft in Niger Delta. My main Nigerian Navy ship, Pathfinder, through our intelligence, were able to discover this place. And you can see these bags. See all of them? Thousands of them, including the one we saw in the drums, were used to siphon and refine illegal products from the pipelines.
The commander adds that the two suspects will be handed over to the prosecuting agencies, even as he estimates the facility's capacity at over 200,000 liters.
We don't have the measurement, but for what you can see, you have seen the tanks, over 62 of them. Each of them contain about 1,000. And you see thousands of this one here, including the one he has converted a poultry, so to speak. He converted it into a warehouse. There are thousands of them there. It could be about 200,000 or above.
The owner of the facility says he uses the proceeds from his illicit business to supplement his legitimate income, and that he makes over 4.5 million naira every month.
It's just for me to meet up for the expenses and doing for, you know how the country be. No matter anything they carry for going for road, even though it's original, they will ask you for something. So after everything, nothing come out.
200,000 liters of suspected illegally refined products are in this private facility here. They say 2 suspects have been arrested and are in custody, even as they continue to investigate to catch those involved in this massive operation. At this rate, and with the Operation Delta Sanity ongoing, it's safe to say that the issue of crude oil theft in the Niger Delta is slowly going to be a thing of the past. From Okozi, in Obaibema Indoni local government area of Rivers State, Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Well, staying with the Niger Delta, I beg your pardon, women of Okarenkoko community of Delta State have shut down operations at Egwa Oil Flow Station operated by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company and Nekonde Energy. The protesting women carried out their threat by marching to the Egwa Flow Station to shut down the operations after the inability of the companies to meet their demand of providing electricity to their host community. They also threatened to do the same in all the facilities within their domain if their demands are not met. For some days now, angry women laid siege at the premises of the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company and Nekonde companies who are currently operating within their community, demanding that they be immediately connected to the turbine electricity or they shut down activities at the flow station. Some management staff who were available at the protest ground received the protesters but declined to speak on the matter.
Darkness hovering around Okarenkoko community in Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State, with the solar street lights and flames from a cooking fire being the only supply of illumination. This has been the situation of the community for many years now, as residents lament what it has been like for them having to live without electricity supply for many years, despite playing host to companies involved in the business of oil and gas exploration activities.
We need their lights, the turbine from them. Since past some 7 to 8 years, they tell us say they go bring them. We don't wait tire. They not agree bring them.
As you see, so they cook for people who did that side though, so that they go feel eat. If we not bring the lights this month, we they come up for us. Now 2 years old, we are there. 3 years old, we did there.
Tired of this condition, the women in the community picket the premises of the OML 42 Jones Creek Flow Station, insisting they will not leave until power is restored in the community.
Wetin make us come here? No be other thing, now because of light. Our turbine not reach our community here, Okarenkoko. Darkness now we dey for all these plenty years. Yes. Not be so. No.
I don't reach Makodi. You need to fall for night, you go fit pick am. But go to Okarenkoko now. Darkness. Christmas they are the grand pepper when the lights go. Since then we never see light. So our major aim of coming this place, we need light. 3 days from now, if we not see the lights, nobody go walk here. Shut down everywhere, and we go deal with you now.
Some management staff who were available at the protest ground received the protesters but declined to speak on the matter. Okarenkoko community is host community to OML 42 Jones Creek Flow Station and also to the Maritime University. The community has been without electricity for more than 12 years. Perhaps this may be the time to take seriously the Petroleum Industry Act, which they believe will help meet the basic needs of host communities like theirs.
Well, let's go to Akwa Ibom State now, where the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Wahid Ailara, has revealed that his men have uncovered an armory in a private mortuary at Ekeya Okobo local government area of the state. The police chief stated this while briefing journalists at the state command headquarters in Ikorakpabi, Uyo, the state capital. He said the operatives stormed the mortuary on intelligence following the arrest of a kidnapping syndicate. Mr. Ailara further adds that the syndicate led by a wanted kidnapper, one Ubong Efyong Achibong, was allegedly responsible for the kidnapping and killing of several persons in the state.
To curb the actions of criminals in Akwa Ibom State, the Akwa Ibom State Police Command have apprehended some criminals. Addressing the press during the parade, the State Police Commissioner Wahid Ayilara says operatives of the command, through credible information and painstaking investigation, had recovered firearms and ammunition used by a notorious kidnapping syndicate led by an alleged wanted kidnapper, Ubong Efyong Achibong, also known as Condiment. He said the syndicate was responsible for kidnappings and killing of several persons in the Oron axis of the state and had been on the wanted list of the command. The said firearms were recovered at a private mortuary being used as the armory at Ekeya Okobo local government area. The firearms are 2 AK-47 rifles, 2 G3 rifles, 1 double-barrel rifle, 1 single-barrel rifle, 5 magazines and 7 live ammunition.
In the process, one of the gang members was neutralized, and the fake man that is using as an armorer was also arrested. He's here with us.
Other suspects were paraded for other crimes including murder, robbery, human trafficking, rape, burglary, and vandalization of public property.
You people will recollect that what we call house-to-house robbery in Ujo and its environment, that people will come and be moving from one house to house and be robbing people of their goods. We have information about them that they have robbed and they are trying to sell the loot.
Some of the suspects admitted to their involvement in the said crimes.
We are actually accused of those items, which we've recovered those items, the fridge and the plasma, with some compressors, which were 6 in numbers, but God have done it. I and my friend is just remaining, 4 have left, so we're just looking unto God for forgiveness.
The ones here are all, they are the girls that are pregnant. And I came, some people brought them, some came on their own, maybe their parents drove them, they came. And each one that comes, I will carry that one to police.
CP Ayilara appreciates the state government for its support as well as sister security agencies and good-spirited members of the public whose credible and timely information led to the huge achievements. He's also appealing for support and cooperation from the public.
Now talking politics, the People's Democratic Party candidate in the September 21st governorship election in Edo State, Asue Ighodalo, says he has faith in Nigeria's justice system, even as the police are yet to bring to book the perpetrators of last Thursday's shootings at Airport Road. Mr. Ighodalo gave this assessment at his campaign office in Benin City, the Edo State capital, shortly after a meeting with a delegation from the European Union. He said the discussions with the EU team centered on preparations towards the Edo governorship election, which according to him is very much on course.
They come to look at the landscape for the sub-national election that we're having on the 21st in Edo State. So just want to ensure that things are going on well, as a free and fair environment, a transparent environment, an unbiased environment, a level playing field. So we just had a frank exchange of views. I think the police will have to investigate the process. And, what we try to do is to stay on the issues and to be fair, to keep an open mind. We think that with the evidence before the police, they don't have a choice but to conduct an effective investigation, and they will do so. We don't have any reason not to believe they won't do so. All of you saw the TV footage. You saw the people that were carrying AK-47s, pump action. They know them. It's clear. It's evidence in plain sight. So, that some of those people are still walking the streets amazes me. But we have confidence, and, you have to have confidence in your process until your process proves you wrong. So it's just 6-7 days. Maybe they are taking their time, but we're sure they'll get to it, because it's evidence in plain sight. You saw the people carrying guns, and there are some things that you saw through that process from the airport down to all the places people went to that don't make sense to the right-thinking person. But we still have faith that something positive will come out of this process.
And that's a wrap from the nation's capital. The rest of the news continues from Lagos.
Many thanks, Terry. After several months of conception and nurturing of the idea, Choice International Group, CIG Motors, has finally forged a new partnership with the award-winning Nigerian music icon David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido. According to the chairman of CIG Motors, Diana Chen, the union demonstrates the automobile group's resolve to continue to push the boundaries of the sector, provide opportunity for young people, and contribute its quota to the country's GDP.
Management and staff of CIG Motors, customers, friends, fans, business and entertainment icons converge on a cool tale to witness history in the making. It's the birth of a new union between GAC Motors and Davido, midwife by CIG Motors. The partnership is a major aspect of the automobile giant's e-mobility drive, having taken up various responsibilities in the last 10 years to reinforce its brand value.
What we have done is that we've been able to collaborate properly with China to have our own. So GAC is not a Chinese brand. GAC is a Nigerian brand. I stand here today as the executive director of the company. I'm a very young Nigerian.
For the chairman, CIG Motors, Chief Diana Chen, this is a significant and historic moment as CIG moves to solidify its expansion plan for the next 10 years, transiting from automobile to mobility.
Just now, our ED, Mr. Jubil, just gave a brief introduction how we built GAC Motor as a brand in Nigeria in the last 10 years. And now we are going to introduce to you how we are going to build CIG Motor into CIG Mobility for the next 10 years as our business growing plan.
A panel session with the Lagos and Osun State governors represented featured the theme, Embrace e-mobility with the youth. The future is now.
The e-mobility would provide a lot of reduction in that space for carbon emission, which causes a lot of environmental nuisances.
These days you see rain falling on December 25th. Growing up, we never saw anything like that. So emission is a huge problem.
Everybody knows I work very, very good with brands. I mean, I don't work with any brand I don't like. Davido is our son, is our pride. And partnering with Davido is a huge advantage for our dear state.
The high point of the day is the signing of a partnership that is meant to drive youth inclusivity in sustainable mobility. The union is sealed with a special kiss as Davido is presented with 2 brand new GSA cars.
There are other things I'm doing with them. Like I want to make like a Davido Uber that's going to be cheaper. Do you understand? For my fans, for Nigerians. So apart from just the cars, other things we're doing.
By this feat, GIC Motors is proving to understand the place of young people in driving growth through creativity, passion, and commitment.
Remarkable. Business News is up next with Will Ibong.
Thank you. The Nigerian Exchange Limited (NGX) has reported 540.48 billion naira in foreign transactions for the first half of 2024, according to the NGX Domestic and Foreign Portfolio Investment Report. This is a significant increase from 145.08 billion naira recorded in the same period last year. However, report highlights show that foreign investors sold more investments than they bought, with 311.41 billion naira worth of investments liquidated. Despite the higher outflows, foreign investment inflows reached 229.07 billion naira, up from 72.02 billion naira seen in 2023. Now, the domestic equities markets, banking stocks continue to take a hit as the index moves further into negative territory. Larry Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the bears are still out on the streets, just like yesterday, with a bigger drop, 0.12%, 100,000 still holding, but within that 500-point level for the all-share index. Market cap 56 trillion. Let's look at the sectoral performance. More attention again with the banking counter down 0.82%, almost 1% at this point. Consumer goods also hammered there 0.22%. Oil and gas continuing unchanged, just like yesterday. Let's look at the top trades now. We see FCMB, all financial services at this point. FCMB leading with 133 million units traded. Interestingly, FCMB is on the gainers counter today and tomorrow. FCMB will be addressing the capital market with the facts behind the offer presentation. It's capital raising season, so definitely expecting more banks to tap the market at this time. That's it from me on the stock market report. The bears dominate.
Thank you, Ladi. Now in the U.S., the S&P 500 and Nasdaq tumbled for their worst day since 2022 as Tesla Alphabet shares fall after posting unimpressive quarterly results. Let's check now.
Thank you, Will. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has asked the United States for faster military aid, saying fast-tracking U.S. military aid could dramatically expedite an end to the war in Gaza and help prevent a broader Middle East war. He was addressing a joint U.S. Congress today in Washington. Tommy Pierce has more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. US Vice President Kamala Harris has gone on the offensive against Donald Trump in the first rally of her White House campaign, portraying November's election as a choice between a former prosecutor and a convicted felon.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
Speaking to a crowd of around 3,000 in the battleground state of Wisconsin, Ms. Harris likened her Republican opponent to fraudsters she said she had prosecuted. Mr. Trump, meanwhile, assailed her record on the border and posted on social media, "Lion Kamala Harris destroys everything she touches." It comes a day after she secured the support of a majority of Democratic delegates, paving the way for her to become the party's nominee.
Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Meanwhile, body cam footage captured shortly after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump shows Secret Service and local law enforcement officers near the lifeless body of the gunman. A trail of blood can be seen near the body of the deceased gunman, identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was able to fire at the former president from a roof overlooking the outdoor rally in Pennsylvania 10 days ago. One audience member was killed and 2 others were badly wounded but are in a stable condition. The new footage emerged hours after US Secret Service Director Kim Cheetle resigned over security failures surrounding the assassination attempt. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister has addressed the joint house of the US Congress in a bid to bolster support for his war in the Gaza Strip. Benjamin Netanyahu's invite was initiated by the Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, whose party is trying to show unflinching support for Israel. However, there have been protests by pro-Palestinian Jewish demonstrators inside Capitol Hill ahead of the address, demanding an immediate ceasefire. Mr. Netanyahu is expected to meet with former US President Donald Trump on Friday. 18 people have been killed after a plane crashed and caught fire while it was taking off from Nepal's capital, Kathmandu. The pilot, who is currently receiving treatment in hospital, is the only survivor of the fatal accident after being rescued from the burning wreckage. The Sauria Airlines test flight was carrying 17 company employees, including technical staff, as well as 2 crew members. It was bound for the Himalayan tourism hub of Pokhara in the country's west. Nepal's aviation industry has a poor safety record that has been attributed to multiple factors over the years, from inexplicable weather to lax regulations. The flight crashed a few minutes after it took off from Tribhuvan International Airport. At least 150 people have now been killed in violent protests in Bangladesh. Security forces are accused of excessive force, but the government has blamed political opponents for the unrest, which erupted after quotas were imposed on government jobs. Most of those have now been scrapped on Supreme Court orders. A nationwide internet blackout since Thursday has restricted the flow of information in the country, where a curfew is being enforced by thousands of soldiers. The violence is the most serious challenge in years to Sheikh Hasina, who secured her 4th straight term as Prime Minister in January in a controversial election boycotted by the country's main opposition parties. Kenya's President William Ruto has nominated key allies of main opposition leader Raila Odinga to his cabinet in the latest move to quell growing dissatisfaction with his government. He gave 4 posts to the opposition, including the powerful finance and energy ministries. This is the first time the opposition will serve in government since Mr. Odinga took up the post of Prime Minister in then-President Mwai Kibaki's cabinet in 2008. Mr. Ruto's decision comes as he faces the biggest crisis of his presidency, with young people taking to the streets to demand his resignation. And a breaching whale has capsized a boat and sent 2 people flying into the water in a video caught on camera. Footage shows a humpback whale suddenly appearing out of the water before flipping over a small 23-foot vessel. 2 people can be seen falling into the ocean as the huge mammal turns their boat upside down. The US Coast Guard says no one sustained any injuries in the incident. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Nigeria Women Football League champions Edo Queens have been drawn in Group B in the West African Football Union qualifiers for this year's African Women's Champions League. Edo Queens will face Ghana's Hasaaka's Ladies, Sparkle Sports Club of Burkina Faso, and the National Guards of Niger Republic. To the Summer Games now. World number 1, Yannick Sinner, has withdrawn from the Paris Olympic Games due to tonsillitis. Sinner won his first Grand Slam at the Australian Open earlier this year and reached the semi-finals of the French Open. The 22-year-old was also due to play in the men's doubles alongside Lorenzo Musetti. And that's your sports news. I'm Kelly. It's back to you, Tunde.
And thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. A week and a day to the planned nationwide protest by a yet-to-be-identified group, the federal government today continued to appeal for more time, as it says it is making efforts to address the current economic challenges in the country. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Do have a good night and stay safe.